Hey guys, good morning everyone. Let me introduce myself. Myself Murali Mohan here. I'm working as a DevOps consultant with Genesis Tech Solutions Private Limited. I have 8 years of experience into IT. Coming to the teaching side, I have 5 years of experience into this particular teaching field. I also handle the corporate trainings, not only the online trainings. So it's a freelancing training. I'm used to do this. So whenever I got opportunity, I explore myself, and I just want to deliver the subject to the corporate employees, those who working in corporate offices. Let's say the previously I delivered the batch for the Capgemini and Oracle and Gainsight and IBX Technologies and ACA Digitals. These are the recent trainings what I have delivered. Okay. This is all about my complete profile. Okay. So as you know, guys, it is all about a demo session today, and you are going to understand about what is the DevOps tools, the which currently we are using. Before we are studying about what are the DevOps tools which we are going to use, I just want to explain about how, in one of the DevOps tools, it's nothing but Docker. It is having a great market right now in this industry. So let's try to understand about what is Docker, how we can able to build a Docker image, how we can run the applications as a container. That is everything we are going to discuss about now. After that, we'll jump into the today's session. Is I will say I will give an overview of what are the tools we're going to cover in the course curriculum, what is the course duration, all the details I'm just going to explain in today's session. Okay, so don't leave anyone. Please be patient and try to understand the terminology. I'm not going to teach you in depth. I mean to say, terminologies and difficult subjects right away. I just want to show that how we are training to the students, how the way of teaching, what kind of content we are trying to deliver to the students. That is what the aim of the demo session, to showcase you guys how this classes it is going to be happen. Okay, this is my all about myself. Let me just going to share my screen, and we'll start discuss about what is a Docker, all these things. The first I wanted to explain few things before we start our today's session. So I hope everyone is aware about what is application, what is server, all these things, right? So let me explain. There is a concept. It is nothing but microservices and the monolithic applications. See, when I say application, it is nothing but set up programs. It is going to perform a specific task. Say, for example, you required a website where you want to do the online trading, or when you want to go with the e-commerce website, or you wanted to you have your own products you want to sell to the online. So this every client has a different requirement. So based on that, we are trying to do the programming, and we are trying to build an application that we are going to deploy into the server. So let's assume that I required something online e-commerce application where I want to sell all my products. So this is my ethos, that application name. This application, assume that we have a software development team, and we have a software testing team, the way they're going to write a code, they're going to test the application. Now once they are done with the software development and testing, we are trying to deploy this application in the server. This is the server. It is nothing but a high configuration computer where we are going to run your application. So whenever the customer, I mean to say user, trying to access your application, the request goes to your server. From the server, we are able to access your application. Right. Now here, we have to understand that how can we run these applications independently without having any dependencies, or how we can able to make the application portable from one environment to other environment. That is basically we have to understand about this factor, the concept. So here, before we talk about how to create portable applications, let me explain what is mean by monolithic applications and monolithic applications, and what is meant by micro service applications. These are the two different types of applications usually we have in the market, in the industry we are going to follow. So let's try to understand about what is meant by a monolithic application and what is meant by microservice applications. The first, let's try to understand about what is meant by monolithic applications for some time. So try to understand when I look at this application. So for example, I'm just opening the flipkart.com. This is the application. When I click on this flipkart.com, this is a page usually we can able to see, right? So whatever you are going to see and how you are trying to interact the website, this is what we can call it as a user interface. Okay. And here, look at here, this is a user interface. And when I say website, it is nothing but a collection of web pages. See, when I click on grocery, I can able to purchase what are the grocery we require. So it is going to ask you that uh, detect the current location. For example, when you want to purchase, let's say mobile phones. When I click on the mobile phones, it contains different brands. When I click on each and every brand, it contains a lot of models. So for example, when you require the specific features, when I click on this one, it is going to show you that what are the features, what are the features of this particular mobile, and what is the price. And also you can look at here, look at the reviews, how the specification, how the product it is, like whether it is a good or bad, that everything we can able to get with help of this particular reviews. This is how we need to understand about the Flipkart. See, what I want to explain is nothing but I want to explain something. It is called as a modules. What are the modules we have in this particular Flipkart? When you got any project, first of all, we are going to break this application into the number of modules. So we are going to break a module and we're going to break into the login module. So login module basically contains the sign up where we are trying to sign up with your phone numbers or email address, or else you have to provide your first name, last name, and the username, password. All these things you are going to click on the sign up. It contains the page where we can able to provide all the information, and this is what we can call as a login module. See, once you logged in, you can able to find your profile, and also look at here. You have something. It is called orders. That means if you are planning to purchase any item, when you click on this, when you place an order, you can able to track all the orders, what is the status of orders, and also you can able to track that whether order is delivered or not, at what time it is delivered, to whom it is got delivered. All the details we can able to see with help of this button orders. Then we have to go something. It is called it as a wish list, rewards, and gift cards. These are all are what we can call as a modules. Now, and we can see there is something, it is called cart module. See, behind this, there are so many modules are running. We have something, it is called admin module, where, see, whenever you look at this website, how these images are going to be displayed. See, sometimes you can see that these images are going to be changed. Now, how these images are going to be changed? Because behind this, there is a module name, it is called admin module. They are trying to update your data from the admin module, which reflect inside the user interface. So let me explain about here with the modules. We have a user interface module, and see, we have a user interface module, and we have a cart module, and we have a login module, and we have orders module. I'll take this modules right now, database model, where we can able to store the data. See, what we are trying to do in this monolithic application, nothing but we are trying to combine all the modules together, and we are trying to deploy this application into a server in a single unit. When I say single unit is nothing but we are trying to combine all these modules. We are trying to combine all the modules in a single unit, and we are deploying this application to server. This is what we can call it as a monolithic application. So every module it is a interlinked with the another module. See, there will be some dependencies. There may be some like we are trying to create user interface where users can able to provide the data that we can store inside the database. Now, this is what we can call it as a monolithic applications. See, when you go with the monolithic applications, you have to understand one thing is a disadvantages. What are the disadvantages with this monolithic application? The first one you have to understand. Let's assume that this is my server and we deploy this application inside the server. Okay, this application deployed inside the server. Let's say it is running the V1 version inside the server. It is running the V1 version inside the server, and we have deployed this application on this vector server. Now, when I just go to here, when I talk about Flipkart, so this is a V1, it is a version which is running. So whenever there is software development team that keep working on the updates, right? See, they'll try to add some features or they wanted to upgrade the user interface, which previously we have done it is not up to the mark. The customers, it is not able to attracting. So whenever you want to update all these things, definitely we are going to do the code changes. So we have software development team. The software development team, they're trying to do some changes in the code. So when they are trying to do some changes in the code, what happened? They wanted to upgrade this version V1 to V2. That is my requirement. So we wanted to upgrade version V1 to V2. So what is the challenge you are going to face when you go with this Flipkart here? So it is unable to unable to upgrade the version V1 to V2. So because of this reason, it is called as a dependency because it is contains all the models. It contains a model, it contains a cart model, it contains login model, it contains orders models. So all these models are, we have created dependency. All the models running in a single the server. So this is what we have to understand about monolithic application. So whenever you are trying to do any code changes, that means we have to downgrade the application and we have to do the changes. So because of that, what you are going to get? You are going to get application downtime. So you're going to get application downtime. And also when there is anything goes wrong, say for example, my orders model got failed. So when orders model got failed, what you are trying to do is nothing but you have to go again. There is something, it is nothing but we have to go with the recode. So we have to go with the recode and redesign, and also we have to go something it is called as a recompile. So this is a disadvantages we have when you go with the monolithic application. But apart from this, there is something we have to understand beyond this particular development, updations, or dependencies, all these things. See, for example, I have just purchased a server with the configuration 250 GB of RAM and it is a 100 TB of storage. See, when you have it is 250 GB of RAM, 100 TB storage. Now, how we are trying to utilize all the resources because it is a one-time investment which I'm investing over there and deploying my application on top of my server. But let's say, for example, I'm utilizing 150 GB of RAM. I'm utilizing 80 TB of storage. But what about the remaining 100 GB of RAM? And what about the remaining 20 TB of storage? We are simply investing money. We are not using resources properly. These are the disadvantages we have when you go with this option name. It is called as a monolithic application. So this is the disadvantages. To overcome all these challenges, we have something it is called as a microservices. So what do you mean by microservices? The name itself, we can understand about what is meant by microservices. That means we are going to break the application into small units. Every microservice application, it is going to run inside the independent server. Why? Because when you deploy all the services in a single server, it is creating a dependencies. Also, if any module is got failed, all other module also going to be impacted. So you are going to get application downtime. I don't want to get any application downtime. I want to run my all my application 24/7. And also, whenever you are getting too much traffic towards any kind of service, you are in position to increase the number of servers. That is what we can call it as a auto scaling. So these are the challenges we have. To overcome all the challenges, we'll go something it is called as a microservices. Microservices are nothing but we are going to break the application into independent services. We are going to break the application independent services. See, now we have a user interface. I'll just going to what are the code I'm just going to write for the user interface, and what are the dependencies having user interface, and what is the configuration required for the user interface. What I will do, I'm going to combine together everything what require my application. I'm going to convert this into a Docker image, and this we are trying to deploy inside the container. As of now, try to understand container, it is like a virtual machine where we are going to run the application. So now what will happen? This application we can able to carry wherever you want without worrying about your application code, dependency or configurations. Because when you are writing a Docker image, building a Docker image, it contains everything what you require for applications. So I'll same thing for cart also I'll do the same thing. For login module also we'll do the same thing. For orders also we'll do the same thing here. So we are trying to break the application into independent services. All the services we are going to run independently. So this is what we can call as a microservices. That means each and every service we are trying to run an independent container, so that we can able to perform auto scaling. Also we can able to perform the load balancing. See, look at here, for every service I'm building a Docker image, I'm deploying in a single container. This is we have to understanding about what is mean by a container or a containerizations. Now, how we are trying to create a containers, how we are trying to build a Docker images. This is what we have to understand. See, why we have to go with this microservices first point. Why we require the microservices. You have to understand about all these points before we jump into the practical session about a Docker. The first one, why we go with the microservices means you want to run your application independently, and when you want to scale up. See, what do you mean by scale up? See, the last month, in the month of October, I hope everyone aware about Big Billion Days. There are some products where you are getting with less price, right? Whenever you are getting with less price, the more number of customers they're trying to access your application. Whenever there is the number of customers are going to be increased, what we have to do? So in order to, we have to be able to maintain the application stable. That is the reason we require a more number of servers to increase. So when you don't increase the number of servers, what will happen? Your application, it is going to be down. So that's the reason only we require something, it is called as a auto scaling. Auto scaling, it is all about whenever you are going to increase the number of servers. So whenever you are trying to increase the number of servers, it is obviously it is going to be cost to the organization. So how can we do it with the less cost? That is the reason we'll go with the something it is called the containerization. How do you perform the containerizations? So when you want to perform the containerization, we require a tool. It is called as a Docker. See, Docker, it is one of the most demanded tool in nowadays in the market. When you learn Docker, Kubernetes, DevOps tools, there are more number of opportunities are there in this particular, right now in the industry. So let's see now what is Docker and how you are going to create a application how we can deploy inside the container, that I'm just going to explain right now. See now, let me just explain what is mean by a Docker. When you talk about Docker, a Docker, it is nothing but a containerization tool. So what kind of, what is mean by the containerization first? So when you are going with this, like, server, you are not using resources properly. But when you go with the Docker, when you're trying to create a containers, if for in each and every container, we are running in a Docker image. We are creating a Docker image. Now all my applications are running on top of the containers. So I can able to create a n number of containers with the help of the Docker here. So whenever you're trying to create a containers, we don't require to allocate RAM. We don't require to allocate RAM, and we don't require to allocate a storage. So how we can do it? Docker will dynamically allocate RAM and dynamically allocate a storage to your container. And also, when you want to understand about how the application is going to run, we are trying to convert your application into a Docker image. This Docker image we are trying to deploy inside the container. So that is the reason only we'll go to something it is called as the containerization. So we don't require a guest operating system to be installed inside the containers. So let's see now how practically we are going to implement this concept to the practicals. Let me just show you this. I'm just going to show you from the scratch. Now I'll just log into my AWS cloud, and don't worry about all these things. We'll start discussing about from the beginning when you go to actual classes. Now this is my AWS cloud. Now I'm creating one instance right now. Say for example, I have this, let me just create a new instance. I'm creating one server now. Click on the launch instance. When you click on the launch instance, I'm just going to provide, let's say I'm just going to mention about Docker demo. This is the name of the instance. And if you just come down, which OS which we have to choose. See, I'm just going to choose something. It is called it as a, Amazon Linux OS, which I'm choosing right now. And if you just go with the Amazon X2 mission, and if you just come down, go the instance type. In this instance type, we have to choose the family type. It is called as a 1 CPU and 1 GB RAM. And if we come down, we have to go with the key pair. So what is the key pair? We have to just look at here. See, key pair something which required security login to your virtual machines. So don't worry. I'm just going to use the existing key pair right now. It is called as a, let me go to here. I'll go with the web server 15th September. This is my key pair, which I already have in my cloud. That is what I'm just using right now. If you go to network settings, see, we are trying to use SSH protocol. So we are going to mention allow SSH traffic from. We are trying to use SSH protocol. And if we just come down, we require a storage. So I'm just going to mention about storage. So if you just go to 30 GB, 30 GB it is nothing but I'm just going to attach the storage to my server. Within a fraction of seconds, we can able to create instance on the AWS cloud with configurations you require. See, for example, if you require high configuration, if we go to instance type, these are the different families we have. See, for example, you required a high configurations. So look at here. If you go with the 16 CPUs, 64 GB RAM, look at here how much they are charging for hourly basis. So when you go to 4 CPUs, 16 GB RAM, how much they are charging. See, we don't want to go with this high configuration because these are paid versions. They are going to charge. But when you're discussing about an actual course like a Sonarchy, Nexus, Jenkins, Tomcat server, Maven, for all the servers, we require at least 2 CPUs and 4 GB RAM. That time we are going to create these servers. As of now, we are trying to discussing about a demo session so that I'll go something it is called as a 1 CPU, 1 GB RAM. Now click on the launch instance. Now I'm creating an instance that means a virtual machine on the cloud. So on top of that, I'm trying to, install my Docker. I'm trying to create a container. So first step, if we just come down and click on the view all instances. This is my instance, which I'm having right now. It is called as the Docker underscore demo. And the instance state is a pending status. Once it is got changed to running status, let's see that how do you going to connect it. So I'm will just click on the checkbox, click on the connect. I'll go with the EC2 at the rate DNS name. What I'm just trying to connecting, nothing to worry about it because I'll show you everything from the scratch. I'll try to connect with the putty terminal. So let me just open with the putty, provide the host name or a path, go to the appearance, click on the change. We have to go with the 14. After this, go to the connection. It is all about how many seconds it requires, 60 seconds, and go to SSH and authorization and click on the browse. So we have to go something, it is called as the web server underscore 15 September. That is a key pair the which we have created. Let me just go to the key pair called as the, yes, this is the key pair. I am trying to uploading right now and click on the open. See, I am trying to connecting right now. It is got connected. See, whenever you are trying to work with us Linux terminals, we require to understand about Linux commands. That is the reason in the part of the DevOps course, we are teaching AWS, we are teaching Linux commands and DevOps tools. Now here, I'll just first, I'm going to become a root user. When you type the command called sudo su, you guys just try to concentrate how I'm just taking the application code, how I'm just converting this application into a Docker image, how I'm deploying inside the container. This is the only steps which you want to focus. Don't worry, don't bother about the commands which I'm executing over there. Okay. The second step, you have to install Docker. Now, how to install Docker? If we have a command called yum space install docker-y. See, if you just use a command called yum install, yum stands for yellow, dog, updater, and modifier. And if you use a command called install docker, a docker, it is nothing but package name, the which package you wanted to install. Okay, after that, you have to mention hyphen because you should not ask any permission while you are installing. That is the reason you use the command called install docker-y. The moment when you hit the enter, look at here, you are going to install the package. It is called as a yum install docker-y. See, Docker is a containerization tool. With help of Docker, we can able to create portable applications. We can able to create deployments, and also we can able to create Docker images because we don't need to worry about infrastructure. We can run your application anywhere without worrying about infrastructure. Now, if you just type the command called docker hyphen version, this is the version of the Docker. Now what I will do, I'll take a simple application. I'll show you that how to convert this application into a Docker image. So first, I'll write a page called as a index.html page. This is I'm creating a one web page. I'll show you that how we can run inside the container. So let me just go to here. I'll try to take this a static web application in the w3schools.com. Let me go with this w3schools.com. If you just come down, I'm trying to, yes, I'll deploy this application now. Go to here, try it yourself. Let me just take a application code because we don't need to worry about the code because you are not going to write any code as a DevOps engineer. Just right click, look at here the code, it is got pasted successfully. Now press escape, double click. Now we have this application code. Now we have to understand how to run this application inside the container. That's the motive, my objective, what I want to do it. Now how do you do this? So basically when you want to deploy any web application, we require application server or a web servers. But how can we do it? Can anyone tell me? Anyone have any idea that how we are going to deploy an application inside the container, or how we are going to run this HTML page. Anyone, guys? There is nothing wrong to express yourself. I just want to see that what kind of responses I'm going to get from you guys. Now I'm just going to convert this application to a Docker image. Whenever you want to convert your code into a Docker image, here we have to understand that you have a code, and for this code we have to convert into a Docker image. Now this Docker image we want to convert into what? Sorry, we want to convert this code into Docker image. So this, we have to write Docker file, and this Docker file we have to convert into a Docker image. Now how we can able to convert this Docker file into a Docker image? You'll just try to look at right now. So let me just do it right now. If you just go to here, now I am going to write a Docker file. So there's the command called vi space a Docker file. Whenever you write Docker file, it is nothing but test document. It contains set of instructions going to tell you that how we can able to run this particular Docker image inside the container. Now hit the enter. Look at it is a vi Docker file. Press I button. It is going to be insert mode. When you press I, it is going to be insert mode. Now you have to understand about how we can able to write a Docker file here. Now how can we write Docker file? The first one, we have to understand about how do you run this particular source code inside the container. See, we have to use a from command. When you use a from command, we have something, it is nothing but a web servers. See, what is meant by web server? Let me explain. See that you have to understand about what is meant by web server. See, web server, it is going to be helpful to run the web application inside the any machine. It may be a virtual machines called Windows. It may be like a virtual machine. It is called a Linux virtual machine. But the software packages are going to be different from one machine to another machine. See, web server, it is going to connect to the internet and supports the physical data and interchange with other device or connect to the web. When you look at this image, this image is clearly telling about how this web server is going to be helped. See, now this is my web server. We have some files inside the web server. Whenever you are going to send HTTP request from the browser, it is giving the response from this particular HTTP request. And we look at this image, look at here, it is a web server. Now we are going to send the request from your laptop. The request go to the web. From the web will go to the web server because of this particular IP address, and the web server contains all the web pages. So from here, I'm getting response back from this particular web server. The same thing we are doing right now with help of the Docker. So now when you just search with here, types of web servers. How many types of web servers we have? And look at here, these are the different kind of servers we have. We have Apache web server, Microsoft IS. This is especially for the Windows machines. We have Apache Tomcat. We have Nginx. Now what I'm trying to do now, I'm trying to take this Nginx image and I'm deploying this my application in the Nginx server. Let's do it how we can able to take this image. Now first, see, we have to go to the from in section. It is going to define that what kind of image we want to pull from the up.docker.com. So go with this Nginx latest. This is the Docker image which I'm trying to pull right now. Now, very simple step. We have to understand about how we can able to deploy this web page inside the container. So we require a code, right? So I'll use a command called as a copy command. Whatever I'm writing right now, these are all what we can call as a Docker instructions. Docker instructions. So all these instructions are going to help you to build my Docker image. So let's try to understand about what are the Docker instructions which we are going to use. There are 13 Docker instructions we have. All these 13 instructions are going to help you to build a Docker image. But as of now, nothing to worry about it. I'm just showing that how we can deploy a web application. Now I have the code, which is nothing but index HTML page. I want to deploy this index HTML page into the Nginx server. See, thus every server, we have a default path. See, for example, when I go to the Nginx web server, the Nginx web server default path. We require default path where we can able to deploy your applications. Now, when I just go to here, mention search with the default path. See, you are going to get the default path for the Nginx server. You have something, it is called USR, and we have a Nginx. So this is the path where we want to copy this particular file. Now I'm just going to provide this location USR shared Nginx HTML. So if you don't copy this file in this particular location, you can't able to run your application. That is for sure. That is the reason we should be very careful that how we are trying to run the code inside the HTML directory. Now what I can do it, I am just going to save this particular file. How we can able to save? Escape colon WQ. I'm just going to save the file. Now what we can do, now we wanted to build a Docker image. Now how we are trying to build a Docker image? Very simple. When you want to build a Docker image, you use a command called docker build -t, and we have to mention Docker image name. See, I'm just going to mention web-app. Then we have to provide the Docker image location. Now mention dot. Once you hit the enter, see it is connect to Docker daemon. That means you have to start your Docker server. Type the command called docker service docker start. This command, it is going to help you to start your Docker. Now if you just use the command called docker build -t web-app, now hit the enter. See, you are trying to building a Docker image. Now whatever the image which I'm building right now, this Docker image, you guys run in your laptops or machines, whatever you're going to use. We can able to run the application without worrying about source code or without worrying about the web server. That is a kind of a portable applications which is going to create by this particular Docker. Now my application is ready now. This is nothing but Docker image. So if you just type the command called Docker images, you have this Docker image name. It is called as a web app. Now I want to show you practically how this application we want to deploy and how to access through the web browser. Now how we can do it? Now first, what is the step? The step one, we have to create a container. Now how to create a container? I am already told you that don't worry about the commands. We'll see later when you discuss about each and every tool very clearly. Try to understand the procedure, how we are trying to run the application inside the containers. Now type the command called docker run -it. This command, it is going to help you to create the containers. Now I want to create a daemon container which I have to run my application 24/7 in the backend. So whenever the customer send a request, they should be access my applications. So when I type the command called docker run -td, after that I have to mention about what is the port number, because if we don't use any port number, we can't able to access the application to the web browser. So that's the reason we have to mention the port number name. It is called as a -p. So which port number you have to mention over there? See, my application I'm running on the port number 8080 and 80. See, why you have to mention two port numbers here? This is going to define that how to access application to the web browser. This is going to explain that how your application and which port number your application is running. This is what we can call the container port number. You must have to mention about one is the host port number, one is the container port number. Now we have to mention about which Docker image you want to deploy inside the container. I am deploying the image which I have built right now. It is called as a web-app. Now once we hit the enter, see, within fraction of seconds, my container, it is up and running. When you type the command called docker ps, it is going to tell you that whether your container is running status or not. Look at here, the 5 seconds ago got created, which is 4 seconds ago it is started. Within fraction of seconds, it is got created and started. When you type the command called docker port, when you use something, it is called a container ID. Right click Once you hit the enter, look at the port numbers, the which port numbers you assigned for your container. Okay, so this is a command. It is going to help you about which port numbers we have this. Now we want to check that whether my application is running or not. See, whenever you want to access your application, we require IP address. Now, when I say virtual machine, every virtual machine contain a IP address. Now, how we can able to get your IP address? Very simple. When you type the command called docker inspect, and if you use a command called as a container ID and right click, now hit the enter. This is the IP address 172.17.0.2. When you type the command called curl space right click, when you use the command called port number 80, once you hit the enter, check whether your application is running or not. That means you're getting something nothing but code. That means your application working fine. Now, how can we access this application to the web browser? That's my question. How can we that? We are going to do this. Let's see that how we can access application to the web browser. For this, we have to open the port number. If we just come to the instance ID and come to here, there is a security part. Under security, we have to go with the security groups. Under security groups, we have to go with this edit inbound rules. Under edit inbound rules, we have to add a rule and we have to go with this alt TCP and the customs. I'm going to change the port number. It is anywhere so that everyone can able to access my application. Now go to instances right now. And if you just go to instance ID, it is a copy the public IP address. Now go to the new tab, Control V, mention the port number is 8080. Now hit the enter. Check your application is running and you are able to access. I'm going to share the URL in the chat box. Try and let me know, are you guys able to access my application or not? Control V. Now hit the enter. Check. Are you guys able to access my application? Is it accessible to everyone? Please check and confirm in the chat. I don't see any responses. I got only one response from Teja. What about others? Are you guys able to access or not? I'm sure that it is accessible to everyone. It is something you are not able to access means you check the URL or IP address what you have copied, whether you copied properly or not. Yes, it is accessible to everyone. See the image, whatever I build now, this image I can able to provide to anyone and they can able to deploy this Docker image in any container. That is what you have to understand about this particular containers. So it is very important tool in this particular DevOps because Docker and the Kubernetes, okay, and we have something it is called as a Terraform, and we have a Ansible, and we have a Jenkins. These tools are playing a crucial role. See, when you want to become a DevOps engineer, and you must and should learn these tools called the Docker, Kubernetes, Terraform, Ansible, Jenkins. So without these tools, you can't able to become a DevOps engineer or you can't crack any interview, I'm sure for that. See here, I just want to give introduction about what we are, what actually we are going to teach the students. That is what, the intention of this particular demo session. See, we have seen about how practically we can able to build a Docker images, how we can deploy an application inside the containers, how to access. So this is the way of the teaching style. We'll start every topic with introduction. After that, overview of the topic and what is the use cases. And I'll take you to the practical session, nothing but how we can able to write Docker files, how we can able to build a Docker images, and how we can run this Docker image inside the container. This is everything we are trying to discuss about a step-by-step process. Now, when you just go to understand about this particular tool chain, you should understand about how the DevOps it is going to work. See, basically, DevOps, it is nothing but a set of practices, or it is a combination of development plus operations team. So basically, DevOps, it is going to help you for three things. The first one is all about the communication. The second one is all about collaboration, and third one is all about automation. This is where exactly we required DevOps. See why the all the organizations are now they're moving from on premises to the cloud, and for the automation something it is called DevOps is all about. They're highly looking for four things. The first one, it is nothing but availability. Now, what are the services which we are providing to the customers? All the service should be available to the customer 24 into 7. That's what they are trying to, the bothering about. After this, they are looking for this lesser cost. That means we don't want to spend much amount of money, and we have to do it all these things with the less amount of money. That is what a lesser cost. Once we done with this availability and the cost, the second one, we have to understand about a higher quality. We have to get high quality product with this help of the DevOps platform. So this is the areas where we have to understand about why DevOps is required. See what we are trying to do it in this course curriculum. See it is I can say it is 100 hours, 100 plus hours course. It is 100 hours course duration. Here you are going to learn this end to end all the tools. See, we are going to discuss about Git and GitHub, which is nothing but a code repositories. And also we are trying to explain about Maven, and also we are trying to explain about NPM, because the Maven itself doesn't sufficient to crack the job, because sometimes you may work on the Node.js applications. So sometimes you have to work on the Java application. So we have to mention about Maven, NPM. Then once we're done with the Git and GitHub, Maven, NPM, then we have to understand about something. It is nothing but Docker. Nothing but Docker. It is basically used into containerizations. We are trying to, whatever we have done, the microservices we are trying to take, and we are trying to convert to Docker image, and we are trying to deploy this application to the Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is nothing but an orchestration tool. It is going to help you to that how can we able to manage all the containers in this vector, the cluster with help of the Kubernetes. So here we are going to deal with the two projects, because it is very, very important how we have to work with the Docker and Kubernetes projects. That's the reason I'm just going to show you that practically how we have to work as a DevOps engineer, how we can able to build a Docker images, the everything. See, once we're done with the Docker and Kubernetes, then we'll go with this Ansible. After that, we'll understand about what is the Terraform. It is a infrastructure as a code. See, if you want to automate the infrastructure in the cloud, we'll go something it is called as a Terraform. See, Terraform is the very, very important tool which has a high demand in the market. So once we're done with the Terraform, then we are trying to discuss about a Sonarchy. It is all about the code quality tool. And once we check the code quality, then we want to push the artifact to the Nexus repository. So whatever you learned so far, if you want to perform the automation, we require the automation server called the Jenkins. With the Jenkins, we are trying to automate the complete the CI/CD pipeline, and that is the reason we'll go with the Jenkins to create a CI/CD pipeline. So for this, we are going to use the Grafana and the Prometheus. These are the two tools are going to help you to the monitor the applications. This is completely we are going to cover from basics to advanced here. So we'll see about how we are trying to work with this all the tools. So once we done with this, this particular tools, then we are trying to understand about something. It is called as a cloud platform, because cloud it is playing a vital role. So we should understand about how we have to understand about cloud platform. In this cloud, you have to understand about different services. See, we have something it is called as the AWS cloud, especially we are trying to discuss about in the course curriculum. Here, I'm just going to explain about EC2, what is the EC2 service. Then we talk about VPC service and IAM service, and also you learn about S3 service, and also you are going to discussing about DevOps tools on the cloud. Call it as a code commit, or we have to go with the code build, and we learn about code deploy, and you will learn about code the pipeline. These are the different tools which we are going to use on the DevOps platform. Okay, we have a EC2, a VPC, IAM, AS3, DevOps, and DevOps tools like a code commit, code build, code deploy. And also we are trying to discuss about SNS and a CloudWatch, which is going to be used for the monitoring purpose on the cloud. And we are going to use ODS. And also we are trying to discuss about, DynamoDB. These are the different services which I'm going to explain on the code platform. So when you want to become a DevOps engineer, the very important skill you should have experience in the Linux as well. So that is the reason we are going to cover the Linux module. It is not admin level, admin kind of course. We are going to help you about the commands, whatever required for a DevOps engineers. This is the complete, the end-to-end project-oriented course, the which we are trying to deliver to the students. And by end of the course, once we're done with this, we are going to explain that how you have to prepare your resume, how we have to prepare your resume. After that, we are going to tell you that how we are going to attend the mock interviews, because we are going to conduct the mock interviews to show you that how actually we have to face the interviews. Okay, that is the reason we'll conduct the mock interviews for experienced professionals, because we don't do mock interviews. We'll call someone, he is working, and they will take the mock interviews. They'll give some tips how to crack the interview, where you are lagging, all these things. This is a complete course structure what we are going to deliver to the students. Okay, now anyone have any questions here, or you require any clarifications? If you guys have any questions, clarification required, you can feel free to contact the number. Definitely, Kalyan sir will help you out, make you guys understand about course structure, duration, everything. Okay. So thank you very much for your joining. I'll see you tomorrow, guys. So if you want to understand more deep into the monolithic application microservices, I'll tell you in a simple sentence. Monolithic application, nothing but we are combining all the modules in a single unit, deploying the server so that you are going to get application failures, so that you are going to get application downtime, so that you are going to get you're going to get business impact. But when you go to microservices, you're going to break the application independent services, and each and every application done independently on the container. So whenever you wanted to perform auto scaling, load balancing, we can easily perform with help of the microservices. So you won't get any application downtime. We can generate the revenue, how much you want. That is a kind of a platform we have to understand about it. Yes. Thank you guys. Thank you very much. I'll see you in tomorrow's session, guys. Thank you.